Cambly, and today we're going to look at the difference between past simple and present perfect. So before we get started, let's take a look at an example. I studied English. I have studied English. Here we have the same sentence, but in one we're using past simple, and in the other we're using present perfect. So how do I know when to use what tense? Let's take a look. So we use past simple when we talk about an action that happened at a definite time. This action has been completed or finished. Many times when we use past simple, we have an understanding of when or where this event took place. For example, I went to the movies yesterday. Last year, I traveled to the United States. Last week, I finished my English exams. All of these examples show an event that is finished or completed. We see a definite time or a definite place of each of these events. When we use present perfect, we are talking about something that happened in the past, but it's related to the present. Present perfect is used to talk about changes, experiences, recent news, or a continuing situation. An example for recent news could be, she has just signed up for Cambly. An example for experience could be, I have traveled to many countries. An example for change could be, I have moved to a foreign country to study a new language. And an example for a continuing situation could be, I have studied English for 4 years. Now let's compare some examples of past simple and present perfect so that we can see the difference and when we should use each one. Remember that present perfect can be used when the time period has not finished. For example, I have lived in Spain for 2 years. This means you're still living in Spain, and your time living in Spain has not finished yet. The simple past is used when the time period has finished. For example, I lived in Spain 2 years ago. This means that you did in fact live in Spain 2 years ago, but this action has finished, and now you don't live in Spain anymore. The present perfect is often used when giving recent news. For example, my friend has just signed up for Cambly. The simple past is used when giving older information. For example, last week my friend signed up for Cambly. The present perfect is used when time is not specific. For example, I have signed up for Cambly. The simple past is used when the time is clear. For example, yesterday I signed up for Cambly. The present perfect is often used with the words for and since to express that an action hasn't finished yet. For example, I have studied English for 10 years. This means that you are still studying English, even though you started studying 10 years ago. The simple past can be used with the word for when it talks about an action that's already finished. For example, I studied English for 10 years. This means that you already studied English for 10 years and doesn't mean that you are still currently studying English. So remember the reasons why and when we use simple past. Completed actions, a series of completed actions, duration in the past, habits in the past, or past facts and generalizations. And the reasons we use present perfect. Experiences, changes over time, to talk about recent news, or an action that's been started in the past and has not been completed in the present. I'd also like to talk about some signal words, or words that we see that help us identify if we're going to use past simple or present perfect. Some signal words for past simple are yesterday, last week, 1 year ago, in 2012, and words like this. These words are identifying a specific time in the past. Some signal words for present perfect are just, yet, never, already, ever, so far, up to now, recently, since, and for. Now, present perfect has a longer list of signal words, but oftentimes when you are using present perfect, you can use one of these words in your sentence. It is important to note that the simple past will always be used when the action is done, finished, and over with. And the present perfect is used with something that started in the past, but is still happening today, or might happen again. That's all for today. I hope that you now understand the difference between simple past and present perfect, and how to use them when talking about a completed action or an action that's still happening in the present. If you'd like to chat with me and practice using the simple past and the present perfect, you may book a lesson with me using the link in the description. I hope to see you next time and hope to see you on Cambly.